Now, there's no doubt about it that a lot of fans are very excited for what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni currently have planned for the future Star Wars TV shows and books, novels, and comics that they also have control over, and exactly what it's looking like for 2023, 24, and beyond for the Star Wars universe moving forward. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new Star Wars universe is that Jon Favreau has a lot of things planned in the background for all of the new announcements that are about to take place, by the way, at D23, Disney Plus Day, as well as Star Wars Celebration of 23 next year. So we have a lot of announcements coming our way, a lot of new statements to arrive by Disney CEO Bob Chapek, Favreau, Filoni, Lucas, and more. So on top of this, one thing about Favreau, as you all know, is that he has been working around the clock between Mando 3 and 4, the Ahsoka Tano series, and other Star Wars TV shows being worked on in different phases in the background. The thing about all of this is that Kathleen Kennedy on the other end is having a lot of trouble with the Acolyte series, and Disney has been having a lot of issues with her, creating these ultimatums against her, and there's just a lot of drama happening on her end. Meanwhile, with Favreau and Filoni, there's a lot of positives coming out of their new Star Wars shows. I'm sure that you guys saw the leaked footage of the trailers of Ahsoka and Mando 3, both of which look amazing. It looks like it's really going to be a blast for 2023 so far. So on top of this, what's really exciting has a lot to do with what Favreau was able to reveal and actually admit about the book of Boba Fett. Now, with Jon Favreau now working on multiple new Star Wars TV shows for Disney Plus that will be announced at 3 separate upcoming events, Favreau eventually got on the subject about the book of Boba Fett, where he eventually apologized to fans about several things related to the Book of Boba series. Now, Favreau went on to state the following to the fans. When we were writing this script, we had this vision to adapt all of the abandoned stories, 4 legends that George Lucas had rejected some years ago, which was exploring a more personal side of Boba Fett. But we originally did not intend to make this a big part of the show. This is something that me and Robert, he's talking about Robert Rodriguez, the director, had creative differences on, where he wanted to dive more into Boba's personal side too much. I was against that and felt that the series need to actually hold more stories about him going about his bounty hunting business. Because of Robert's episodes focusing on other things, it made things hard for us, myself and Dave, to focus on what we wanted to do with the Boba Fett series. I really do apologize, and I'm sorry if we did not get to explore that side of Boba Fett that fans love from those books and comics, and how we overly, of course, used Boba Fett's personal side and softer side was never our intention and only came from creative differences. We are preparing to do a lot better with this character now that myself and Filoni have been given the opportunity to do great things freely with other projects coming up that will bring a return for this character that I really can't get into just right now, but you will find out more about that by this fall. The reason we had some creative differences also is the fact that since this was an extension of the cancelled Boba Fett movie that Kathleen Kennedy had quite little influence over, she kept pushing the idea for us to actually use some of those parts for the movie in the series, which we didn't have to, but we felt it was something that maybe we should try out to respect that vision of the cancelled movie. So let me just pause right here for a second. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was going to be Boba Fett, A Star Wars Story. That was going to be the actual title of the Star Wars movie. There was a lot of, back and forth between James Mangold taking control of the actual movie back then. But on top of this, the fact that parts of the movie of the Boba Fett film transferred over to the series, it reminds me of what happened with the Kenobi show. Originally, the Kenobi movie transferred over to becoming a Kenobi movie trilogy, and that eventually transferred to becoming a actual series, which, by the way, Kathleen Kennedy also had control over. The Boba Fett series was similar, but not quite as severe. Kathleen Kennedy only had little influence over the series and the actual movie back then. And the fact that, you know, when you look at it like this, Jon Favreau seems very apologetic over this, very sorry about the fact that Robert Rodriguez was, yes, an executive producer. He had a lot of creative pull on the episodes that he was working on, and even some of the episodes that he was not even directing. So, obviously, that got in the way of trying to make some breathing room for the episodes that Jon and Dave had full creative power over for the Boba Fett series. And mind you guys, the Boba Fett show was the very beginning of when Dave and Jon got more creative power, and this was before they got those big promotions over at Lucasfilm, which they have now, which allows them to have full creative control over anything that Kathleen Kennedy is not fully invested in, such as the Acolyte or Skeleton Crew. So moving forward, starting off with Tales of the Jedi and the Bad Batch, this is everything related to Favreau and Filoni being fully in control. Mando 3 and 4 also count. The Ahsoka series also counts. So I think that 2023 is going to be the true light at the end of the tunnel. Now, on top of that as well, he goes on to reveal, alright, we apologize if fans expected so much more out of this character, and that this is just typical business in the film industry that sometimes can get problematic. Now, we have great things coming up for this character in the future that I cannot wait to share with all of you. It's going to be quite a blast for everybody. I felt horrible at times with the series when it was out of my hands on some of the decision making on this character's path and where he was going. Our original vision was to keep this as short as possible with a 4-episode miniseries that was going to set up The Mandalorian Season 3. I think fans will be very happy with what we are about to announce in the next couple of months. That's really going to make them hyped for the next 2 years for this character. I am just thrilled to eventually share all of that with the community. So, let me just pause here for a second. Now, basically, Favreau confirmed that that big rumor about Boba Fett being 4 episodes long originally was true, and it does lend a lot of explanations to why there were extra episodes that focused on nothing related to Boba Fett. For example, the episode that had Din Djarin going about his business, and the episode that had Luke Skywalker training Grogu and talking with Ahsoka. Those 2 episodes were really an attempt to fill in the gaps and to actually extend the series than it needed to be. So, when you look at it like that, obviously, you know, Favreau, it seems like that this was really soul-crushing for him to have to really adapt and try to balance things out based on what Robert Rodriguez was sacrificing with his episodes and even kind of spilling things way into Jon and Dave's vision. Obviously, the biggest failure of the Boba Fett series was that episode where you had the biker gang that was basically inspired by Robert Rodriguez from his movies, from Spy Kids, from Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and of course from Alita Battle Angel. Alright, Drash, by the way, is the female character with the black hair and the pale skin that kind of resembles Quora from Tron Legacy. Basically, that was Robert's vision, essentially, from Alita Battle Angel to make into that character into Boba Fett. So anyways, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.